I, I I'm literally chilling to the bone in Chicago, and my heat, it's working minimum. Just minimum is what they gave me. Last year the heat went out on the coldest day of the year. Some space heaters really did the trick enough to not bother them. Well, why does it feel like I'm a bother when I'm a slave to a landlord? I don't know. It needs to be studied, people on social media say. I don't know about being a slave to the landlord, but they say things need to be studied. That's interesting. It doesn't. It usually doesn't. Whatever you say needs to be studied, it doesn't need to be studied. Okay, guys, if you are not a comedy fan, if you're just a passive comedy fan, I don't know how interesting. To be honest, even if you are a comedy fan, I don't know how funny this episode's gonna be because I just want to give out some observations. Just a thing that I went to. So yeah, if you're not a comedy fan, it's probably gonna be a boring episode. Went to my second comedy show as a fan, within a month, and Joe List in October and Phil Hanley this month, and Phil Hanley becomes the first comedian I've ever seen twice in Chicago. So that was fun. The tradition continues. Way better than the first show that I went to last year. Phil Hanley, if you don't know him, check him out. To the passive comedy fan, he does what you think comedy is, what Matt Rife, not just Matt Rife, but many popularized the crowd work videos. They got to get clips. And Phil Hanley's been doing this before YouTube Shorts and TikTok and Instagram Reels. So he's literally the king of it. I think personally, my opinion doesn't mean too much, doesn't hold too much weight. I was putting off the show. I was like, I don't want to go. It doesn't sound fun. I like I convinced myself like, yeah, I get it. I know what he's gonna do. It could be good. It could be bad. It all depends on the crowd, really. And I went. I made the game time decision right when I woke up. I went to work. I was like, I'm going to go to the show. I bought a ticket. I'm going to go. Couldn't have picked the worst day to just kind of make the decision on a whim. I was not mentally prepared. There was probably a million people downtown Chicago with this fucking light parade, which is apparently big. I just don't. I can't stand to see dumb people, just conform, even though it's expected, and they're wearing Santa hats and reindeers, and they're all every coffee shop, whether it's little or it's Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, they're getting slammed with these fucking heathens. Want a hot cocoa in their hand? They're walking around holding it. They're not holding it like I'm holding the microphone right now, but it's just, I don't know why it rubs me the wrong way, but it does. It does. So literally, I am not kidding. A million people. Hold on, you know what? Let's get a number on it. I don't want to lie to you. Okay, so 700,000 people, about a million people. I'm gonna round up. A million rolls off the tongue, and I don't. I have to take a line that I don't really take, a train line, and I cannot find it. And as a matter of fact, I go to the one stop that has literally every single but the one, and I cannot find it. I already hate looking at my phone, being vulnerable. I don't want somebody to take advantage of me, saying this guy obviously doesn't know what he's doing. But hey, I got 700,000 witnesses if I am being taken advantage of. So there's the silver lining. Finally, I find it, hop on the train, get to where I need to go. Literally on the train, I'm thinking, I am going to drink tonight. I am going to relapse. 2 drink minimum. I will take 6, please. Not at once. It ended up being okay. Until I walk into the venue, I go straight to my seat. I'm the only one there. I get a seat at the very end of a row. I just see it. Like, I already know where my seat's at, and I just see it before the usher points me in the right direction. I'm sitting next to two people, a couple. Could have been a first date, first, second date. It felt like a couple. It felt like a weird, strange couple. And a woman has a dog at a comedy show. I get it. I get it. I get it. Dogs, they're everywhere. They are in more places than ever before. That's certainly true. I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with. I don't even want to acknowledge it, but I accept it. That's just how it is. Dogs are everywhere, and I sometimes I'll see dogs. So I think we all know the difference between ESA animal and service dog. The ESA is something you pay a couple $100 and you get a letter and you don't have to pay the pet fee from your landlord. 100%. That's what an ESA is. Nobody needs an emotional support animal. Like, it's implied. It's why we get animals. It's implied. It's there. Anybody that has a pet it has it for the same reason that the person got the letter. And I'm guilty of it. I've been scammed. I got out. I paid a couple $100 to exercise the lack of pet rent. 100%. Didn't realize it was a scam later until they said, "Hey, you need to renew it." And I'm like, "Oh fuck, I got scammed." There's some. If you know a therapist, they'll probably hook you up. Probably. But I got scammed. That was actually the first. And I was honest in the phone. I'm very vulnerable to especially to strangers. That was the first time I was diagnosed clinically depressed. I was like, cool. I don't have to pay $35 in pet rent. So yes, and then a service animal, a seeing eye dog. You'll see like normal people. Well, I guess I'm going to contradict what I'm about to say when I say normal people, but you'll see just like almost fully abled, physically abled people having service animals, and you got to jump through some more hoops. I think anybody can have a service animal or a emotional support animal, and the dog can be just absolutely rambunctious, not well behaved at all. I sit down at the show and I'm like, God damn it. A comedy show. That's my neck of the woods. That's my area. Walmart? Yes, I absolutely. I can see a misbehaved dog at a Walmart and be like, that's just the world we live in. It's like, now you're playing with my inner peace. But whatever. It's the world we live in. And I'm immediately eavesdropping on them. They're trying to cheat the 2 drink minimum, which I ended up getting 2 Heineken Zeros. And I already don't like these people. And let me just say this: the woman had her hand on the dog for comfort, I imagine. You're ill. You're just a sick person. You can't grow up. That might be a disease. You're just a your hope you go to a show. That's one of the fun things to do in life. That is one of the fun things in life. You don't take your dog, I'm pretty sure it was a service dog. The vest said service dog, but I don't know, maybe a purchase off eBay. Even if it wasn't a service dog, doesn't matter. It was a well-behaved dog. There was just 2 times the dog kind of jumped in the lap, and I was like, huh, I don't know if a fully trained service animal would have done that. But that's okay. The dog's not barking. As a matter of fact, I pity the dog. The laughing, clapping. Everyone put your hands together for your headliner, Phil Hanley. The house goes wild. I feel bad for the dog. But the woman, do you take the dog with you to work? Where do you take the dog where you're not doing one of the fun things in life? That's what I want to know. You could argue it's not fair to take the dog. I don't get the dog, and it's like, well, of course you don't get the dog. You're fucking clinically sane. You're not sick. You're not ill. There's not something in your brain that's underdeveloped where you're a child and you need this fluffy golden retriever. Anybody that brings a service dog and thinks especially to one of the fun things in life, like a comedy show, anybody that does that, but is also trying to cheat the 2-drink minimum, I think might not even be mentally ill. I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt. Yes, bring your dog to the comedy show, but you and I are. One of us are not pleading insanity in a court of law. I'm just at a loss of words. I'm so neutral with the situation. It didn't ruin my evening, but just thinking about it, it's just like what. So let me hit that nail on the head real quick. Got the service dog, whatever, that's fine. But you're cheating I think you're just a person that needs attention, that needs to be. The last episode, I said something about a badge of oppression. I have anxiety. That's we all do. We all do, sister. It's just interesting to me. If it was somebody that really you throw a blind guy in there who needs his dog, who's going to be probably more well behaved than that already well behaved dog that I encountered. He's going to obey the 2-drink minimum. As a matter of fact, the servers are going to say there's a 3-drink minimum because he can't fact check it. They're going to take advantage of this guy. You try to take advantage of this woman next to me, it's going to be a clip being passed around. You'll just see me putting my hood up, going into the sleeve of my jacket. Again, didn't ruin my evening. If anything, it's ruined my evening tonight. Just thinking about it. Anybody like that woman, I think is, I don't know. There's something wrong in the head. And it's nothing bad. It's not like they're shooting schools. As a matter of fact, they probably post something in solidarity. Obviously, she's an able person, mentally and physically. It's just the drawing of attention. It's gross to me. It's get in line, sister, please. Please get in this long, very, very long line. The longer the line goes on, the more miserable faces, the more disadvantaged. Just the array of color in that line. Just take a long look at it. You got it pretty good. You managed to jump through some hoops. You got the version, Hitler's dog version, although I think he was partial to the German Shepherd, but you got Hitler's dog version of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, it's a well-behaved dog. And you got away with it. You're going to continue to get away with it, because if you don't, you're going to make a scene. You somehow have paperwork that says you need this dog. You cheated the system. You did exactly what people do to oppressed people because you want to be oppressed. And that's fair. You did it. You did it in true American style. If anything, I applaud you. But you're fucking insane. And justice needs to be served. Alrighty. The show was good. A lot better than the year prior. Glad I went. And I got some pizza after the show, which was interesting. The year before, I went to the same pizza place and then went to the show. Killing some time for a long bus ride. Yeah, it was amazing. That's just really I guess I really hounded it. I don't need to talk about the comedy thing. I hope I didn't lose anybody because I hardly even chimed in about the comedy stuff. I'll try to make it quick, though. Anthony Jeselnik, very funny, talented comic. He comes out with a new special. It's on Netflix called Bones and All. He toured for like a year and a half with it. The first special in, I think, 5 years, maybe 6 years. I don't know what year Fire at in the Maternity Ward came out. And he makes a comment. Listen, I like Joe Rogan, and this is filmed like in the summertime, I think. So this is pre-Donald Trump. Joe Rogan just contributed to Donald Trump's popular vote. This is pre that by a milestone or by a landslide. Huh, that's interesting. Play on words that I didn't intend. That was a honest to God, no pun intended. Wow, that's a first. So he just says, listen, I like Joe Rogan, but if you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, you're a fucking loser. And there's some truth to that. I think there's some truth to that where if that's where you get your information. Nothing else. And it doesn't even have to be Rogan. It can be many, many, many podcasts. It can be me, which I'm the least. I'm not good. I don't fact check. I just say things and think things more. So then he makes a comment on his podcast, and he says if you have a presidential candidate on your podcast as a comedian and you don't do anything, i.e., like fuck with them, then you're a podcaster, not a comic, which is like some old school of thought, I suppose, and I think that's an era he comes from, which if I did the grit and grind, yeah, I'd probably put in all this work, yada yada. And then he starts he makes it known he's only doing a few podcasts and interviews about to promote the special. Calls out the Rogan Sphere comics, Tony Hinchcliffe, and I caught you up to speed. That's it. So there's a little, it's bubbling up. Anthony Jeselnik's sounding the horn a little bit, and he's allowed to. He's within his rights. And so are these Rogan Sphere comics and Joe Rogan. They're within their rights too. And if I could chime in my 2 cents, that holds no weight by any means. I feel like whatever Jeselnik is saying, if there is truth to it or not, if it's all speculation, if it's, you can see parts of his argument, but which I can, in my opinion, if Anthony Jeselnik wants this point that he's trying to hit, and maybe he's not even trying to hit, maybe it's become a thing and people are asking him about it. Had they never asked, maybe he would have never said anything, and that's fine. And I think that's something to consider. I don't know. I haven't watched the interviews, but what I did watch was Bones and All, the new special from Anthony Jeselnik, which was, in my opinion, probably his worst special. Which, it's okay. It's okay to have the worst special. It's okay to think. It's okay to think if it was his best work. But I've defended Anthony Jeselnik, and I will continue to. I've defended him so many times. People think low hanging fruit. I don't think that at all. This was, if this was your magnum opus, Anthony Jeselnik, then I think your words would hold more weight. And I don't think I think we're in a point in time where you're a podcaster, not a comedian. I don't think people give a shit. I don't give a shit. I used to, but I'm breaking away from the school of thought. I get it. It really hurt my feelings when he went after Matt Rife. Listen, I've never watched a Matt Rife special ever. And when I tried to, I turned it off. But and my school of thought with this is I don't want to talk shit about comedians. They're doing a hell of a lot better than I am. They've put in a hell of a lot more work than I have. Matt Rife, it'd be one thing if he was an open micer and he blew up and got a world tour and did the promo shirtless. That'd be one thing, but that's not how it happened. He was a comic for 10 years doing the grind and was ready to give up. I don't know how much truth that is, but Matt Rife is indeed 100% a pure comedian. And open micers have a problem with it. It's like you know who's not talking shit about Matt Rife at an open mic? Matt Rife and colleagues and company. It's simple as that, in my opinion, which doesn't hold much weight. But it's just interesting. I don't know. I kind of want to see what the responses. Tony Hinchcliffe, Anthony Jeselnik said Tony Hinchcliffe's roast jokes were hack, and if you don't know anything about Anthony Jeselnik, he was on the Trump roast, the Charlie Sheen roast, and another one, Roseanne maybe, and he had killer sets. He was kind of like the Tony Hinchcliffe of those roasts. And maybe there's a little rivalry, jealousy, I don't know. And Tony Hinchcliffe with the Tom Brady roast had the best set, no doubt. I don't know, but maybe something rings true. I can't off the top of my head. Also, I'm bad at memory, but I know there was funny jokes, but I can't remember them. But then again, I guess it's been years and years since I've watched the Jeselnik jokes on those roasts. So I was gonna say I can't remember any of his. Interesting. I truly don't think comics should be beefing with each other. But that's all I got to say, guys. I will see you for day number 5. I almost tapped out. I was like, I'm not going to do it. I was like, my historic streak comes to an end at 3. But I suppose we live to see another day. I have to quickly edit this to get it out tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I will make a disappointing pot of Kraft mac and cheese. And then it'll be time to go slave away at my job. So like and subscribe. Get this thing monetized. We'll see you tomorrow with special guest, my service dog.